Hello everyone, I am back. My name is Vanessa and the name of this channel is Gnostic Knowledge, referring to knowledge that has been kept from the masses, and that is in the form of gematria, and that is what I'm doing on this channel. I am reading from a book and it is about gematria. The book is called Letters and Numbers, written by Zachry K. Hubbard. Gematria is the encoding of numbers within our letters and words. Every word we speak has a numerical value. The more you learn about gematria, the more you'll see how the code works. And now I am in chapter 21, Undeniably Rigged Sports. And that is what I am reading about in this chapter. And I want to tell you the exact name of the chapter. Normally I write it down, and I will for the next one. But it is called Chapter 21, Undeniably Rigged Collegiate and Professional Sports. And you can get a copy of this book by visiting Zachry K. Hubbard's YouTube channels, Gematria Affect News or Gematria Affect Sports. And in the description of each of the videos that he produces, he leaves a link for you to purchase the book for $5. The book will come to you as a PDF file and via email, so make sure you save the file so you'll always have access to it. He left the copyright off this book so that you can have it bound into a book for your own personal library. There's over 700 pages in this book, so keeping it in the electronic file format is great because it makes make it easy for you to search for information within the book. The book is phenomenal. The book is eye-opening. The book is true. There's nothing for you to believe about what Zachry K. Hubbard has written. There is a code. This code is based in mathematics, geometry within the English language, and mathematics is either right or wrong. So in this instance, this code is cleverly thought out, and it uses gematria, ciphers, and all of these ciphers are interrelated with each other, but the four base ciphers are the only ciphers you would need, like ordinal, reduction, reverse ordinal, and reverse reduction. And so, you know, the ordinal cipher is what? A is 1 up to Z is 26, so on and so forth. But this stuff is just, man, it's brilliant, but it is evil. Zachry K. Hubbard also wrote a second book called Number Games 9/11 to Coronavirus. This book is now available on Amazon as a pre-order and will be released on October 13th. It has been placed on the bestseller list, and that's the young man that wrote the book, Zachry K. Hubbard. This book is phenomenal as well, and as you will notice from the first reading of chapter 21 with these sports, the number 41 and 13 over and over again. Kobe Bryant died at the age of 41. His daughter was 13. His death is in this book. Pop Smoke's death is in this book. Naya Rivera. So many other pertinent things that has happened over the course of 2020 is in this book. And it is all, everything that they present to us, even coronavirus, even 9/11, even Pearl Harbor, everything is orchestrated by gematria. Even the establishment of this freaking country, gematria. And it is just, man, it is something that's horrible to think about, but it's true once you learn what gematria is. If you don't want to order the book Number Games from Amazon, you can also go to Zachry K. Hubbard's his blog page, gematriaaffectnews.blogspot.com. The first thing you'll see when you get to that page is the advertising for this book. As you scroll down, you will see the instructions on how to purchase the book within America and abroad. And as you can see, this cover art, you know, these are the Twin Towers and this is the coronavirus, but it's also going to be viewed as 110. 110. The Twin Towers were 110 stories tall, but 110 is just a number that has been used all throughout this year. But learn gematria. You know, also watch Zachry K. Hubbard's videos on Gematria Affect News or Gematria Affect Sports. This stuff is just mind-blowing, and you will learn a lot from watching his videos. But he spoon feeds this information to you, so I would suggest that you get his books or listen to me read the books. If I'm doing this, this is my way of trying to help share this information, and maybe for people who don't have time to read, or would rather hear a recorded version of the book. Like I said, I don't have the best reading voice, but this information is that important to me. That is why I am doing what I can to try to help get this information out there. And for everyone who's been listening to the readings and leaving nice comments, thank you very much. Please give the video a like and a share so someone else can find the information too. And hopefully this information about gematria will begin to spread like wildfire. I really hope it does. And with that said, I am on page 711, and in the chapter Undeniably Rigged Professional and Collegiate Sports, chapter 21, and I will continue reading. And here we go. Now, transitioning back to Alabama's most recent football championship, there are a few more pointers I want to give you for seeing through scripted sports. Prior to the game, ESPN gave Alabama 57.5% odds to win the game. As mentioned, the number 57 is entirely connected to rigged sports championships, and if you pay attention, the media will find a way to throw around this number every time the big game rolls around, from college to pro, from football to basketball to baseball to hockey and beyond. And understand, ESPN is very important in the scripting of all sports, being the sports leader that throws around more hints than anyone, especially if you know the code. Second, you want to pay attention to the headlines and pictures, especially jersey numbers the media is putting before you. Okay? In the lead up to the game, championship or otherwise. For example, take this shot from CNN. Obviously, the number 99 goes without saying, and in this case, this headline was after Alabama beat Clemson in the college playoff on January 1st, 2018. A date with numerology of 13, and you would add 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 18, that equates to 13. And avenging their loss the year prior, where Clemson won with 99 offensive plays. As for the headline below the jersey number, it refers to Alabama as the evil empire, and this matters because it came days before the national championship game, and I will show you this picture in a second. And actually there's two pictures, so you could pay attention to both, because I'll be reading about it as well. But there's the jersey number at the top with 99, and then the young football players below. Okay? And here we go. Consider evil empire sums to 57 in reverse reduction, whereas Crimson Tide totals 57 in reduction. When you turn to ESPN and they're giving Alabama 57.5% odds to win, and then CNN is hinting with this, it begins to clarify who the champion will be well before the championship game rolls around. To build on the point, take a gander at this story, which ESPN kept on the front page of its website for nearly all of the 2015-16 NFL season. It was about 57 children named Peyton in Indiana who were named after the quarterback Peyton Manning. Better yet, that story was 1 minute 31 seconds long, not unlike 131, and I told people all season, when Peyton Manning rides off into the sunset, winning the Super Bowl after throwing a game full of wounded ducks, don't dare forget this story ESPN mocked you with all season. Sure enough, Peyton Manning did just that. And I'll never forget his first pass of Super Bowl 50, an 18-yard completion, and a wobbler from number 18 to number 81 to start the last game of number 18's career in his 18th NFL season. Before we move on to the painfully scripted NFL, I want to give you a few last points about Alabama's most recent championship season. Prior to them winning the big game, they defeated Clemson as mentioned. Notice, they won that game with a score of 24-26, where 24 has numerology of 6. This was a major clue that Nick Saban would be picking up championship number 6 on January 8th, 1 week later. Consider Alabama won by 18 before the January 8th or 1-8 championship game to start 2018. Emphasis on 18, where the number 18 factors into 6 plus 6 plus 6, like Saban winning number 6 at age 66, 666. Okay? Even further, ESPN, which sums to 18 in reduction, and SEC, which sums to 18 in reverse reduction, Alabama and Georgia are both SEC teams, was showing the championship. Okay? So I'm going to read that again. Even further, ESPN, which sums to 18 in reduction, and SEC, which sums to 18 in reverse reduction, was showing the championship. And if you're not aware, ESPN also owns the television rights to SEC football, having bought those rights with a multi-billion-dollar deal. Just think about that for a moment. If your brain works, that is major motivation to make sure games are rigged and scripted for excitement, to make sure people watch and stay tuned to the games as they do. In Alabama's win over Clemson, one of the storylines was defensive player Daron Payne catching a touchdown pass. Notice he wore number 94, where 94, when written out as a word, sums to 147. And better yet, his birthday is May 27th, the 147th day of the year. Fittingly, his reception came 140 days after the quarterback's birthday, who was Jalen Hurts at the time, who was born August 7, 1998. Also noteworthy, the name Daron Payne, D-A-R-O-N, Daron Payne, sums to 49 in reverse reduction, same as Roll Tide, the Alabama motto and the reflection of his jersey number 94. And please understand, all of these men and all of these perfect syncs were planned long before they took place and became part of sports history. The script is deep. So the phrase Roll Tide equates to 49 reverse reduction. 26 to 23 equates to 49. So that was a 49 combined points in the championship. Roll Tide equates to 41 in reduction. 41 is the 13th prime. Speaking of deep sinks, just before the championship game, an article was written about the sudden and unexpected death of Nick Saban's father at age 46 by Bleacher Report. That article was published December 28, 2017, a date with numerology of 57. You would add 12 plus 28 plus 17. That equates to 57. The article began by mentioning how nearly 45 years ago the death took place, and then transitioned into how Saban's father had filled 5 garages along Interstate 218 with seemingly junk. If you're paying attention, you should recognize that number 46 connects to sacrifice and 218 to death. Further, Nearly 45 years ago means 44 and change. And we know how 44 connects to kill, whereas 45 connects to Nicholas and Alabama. In other words, for the careful reader, the knowledge of the code, for the careful reader with the knowledge of the code, this article was telling you that Nick Saban's father had been murdered for Nick's future success. No doubt as one of the greatest college football coaches of all time. As sick as it is, this is how it works. My goodness. And here is a headline that I will read over here. It says, Georgia beat Alabama in men's basketball. This is the fourth time in the BCS CFP era where the eventual CFB championship game participants met in basketball prior to the title game. Each of the previous 3 times, the winner of the basketball game also won the football game. So this is a ESPN tweet. Okay, so here we go. And to show you how college basketball and college football are scripted together, notice the stat provided by ESPN that I had just read. By Georgia beating Alabama in basketball January 6th, 2018. A date with numerology of 45. You would add 1 plus 6 plus 20 plus 18. That equates to 45. It made it so that there was the possibility of Georgia winning the football championship and making it so that the basketball winning school would become 4-0 all time in the CFB championship game, which is the way the media was carrying it. But what I pointed out then was that by Alabama winning the championship, that record would become 3-1, similar to 31, corresponding with the ordinal gematria of Alabama, which of course is exactly what happened. For the final point about the college championship between Alabama and Georgia, it was destined. That is because their meeting for the championship was in their 68th game against each other all time, where the word championship sums to 68 in reduction gematria. Heading into the game, Alabama led the series 38-25 and 4. So 38, 25, and 4. And they exited with their 39th win, a number divisible by 13, and a number important to the Old Testament, which is of 39 books in length, unless we're looking at the Catholic version. Again, the Old Testament begins with man being created on the 6th day in the 26th verse, and we covered how that factored into this highly contrived sports game in tribute to Nick Saban and Bear Bryant. Speaking of which, Nick Saban, who owns a number of Mercedes-Benz dealerships, won his 6th title in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So, Mercedes-Benz Stadium equates to 98 in reduction, S counted as 10. Saban equates to 98 reverse ordinal. The stadium opened for the 98th season of the NFL. Okay, now let us move on to the NFL, the league that drafts the best athletic actors from the college stage, where they're then paid millions of dollars to deceive the manpower of the nation. We'll begin with Super Bowl I, played in the 47th season of the NFL, and for reasons that should go without saying, but just in case you picked up this book and skipped right to this chapter, again, the number 47 symbolizes foundation, a word equating to 47 in reduction, and which originates from the Freemason logo, featuring compasses set at 47 degrees, that is in tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid, a problem having to do with establishing foundation. One more time. American football was created by Freemasonry, and the language of letters, numbers, and mathematics, which is gematria, is very much Masonic. It is also the language of all of rigged sports is scripted by. So I want to read that one more time. One more time. American football was created by Freemasonry, and the language of letters, numbers, and mathematics, which is gematria, is very much Masonic. It is also the language all of rigged sports is scripted by. Gotcha. Alrighty. Before we discuss what pops out about Super Bowl I in the NFL's 47th season, I also want to point out the significance of 47 in other sports leagues, also controlled by Freemasonry. In professional basketball, the first championship was played April 16, 1947. Okay? That was one day after Jackie Robinson became the first official black Major League Baseball player, which was April 15, 1947. It was also 1947 that NHL, summing to 47 in reverse ordinal, made the Stanley Cup the official league championship prize. And coming back to basketball for a moment, I should note that the first NCAA tournament was played in 1939 between Ohio, summing to 47 in ordinal, and Oregon, summing to 74 in the same cipher. Consider the first college football championship after the playoff system was adopted in 2015 was also played between Ohio and Oregon. Further, Ohio State, who won that championship, did so with 42 points, the number connecting to Freemason in the reduction cipher. Ohio State also came into the game 13-1, as did Oregon. And more importantly, Ohio, equating to 47, is the birthplace of American football. Okay? As for the sport the rest of the world calls football, but which we call soccer, the MLS, Major League Soccer, equals 96 reverse reduction, okay, had their first championship in 1996, emphasis on 96, the number connected to Freemason in ordinal, and the first winner was from DC, the city abbreviation equating to 47 in reverse ordinal. That team was DC United, who won the championship on October 20th, 1996 in the lone month, summing to 33 in reduction, the number of masonry. As for the first Super Bowl, consider it was won by the Green Bay Packers over the Kansas City Chiefs, 35-10, equating to a sum of 45 points, the number of geometry, which goes hand in hand with the compasses, an instrument of geometry set at 47 degrees. Consider further that the Packers have a G on their helmet, not unlike the G in the middle of the Freemason logo, just beneath the compasses. At the same time, that G symbolizes the number 33 in Francis Bacon gematria, and the star player of the Packers, quarterback Bart Starr, S-T-A-R-R, had turned 33 years old January 9th, 1967, born January 9th, 1934. Further, the name Bart Starr sums to 45 in reduction when S is counted for 10. At the same time, Starr, S-T-A-R-R, has reverse reduction gematria of 41, similar to how Super Bowl has reduction gematria of 41. Again, the number 41 is the 13th prime number, and 13, written as a word, has reduction gematria of 45. Better yet, G equates to 13 in Frank Baconis, and NFL sums to 13 in reverse reduction. And the G is a capital G, by the way, because I believe the Frank Baconis cipher is centered around capital letters. Excuse me. Okay? So, and for one more parallel to 13, the game was in LA, summing to 13 in ordinal gematria and 41 in reverse ordinal. It was only fitting then that the winning coach, Vince Lombardi, had a name summing to 41 using the septenary cipher. On the subject of the winning score, 35 points, that number also factors in. In septenary, both Super Bowl and Kansas City, the losing team, equates to 35, as does the name Brian Starr, S-T-A-R, which was the birth name of Bart Starr. As they say, the NFL is a QB-driven league, and fittingly, QB sums to 35 in reverse ordinal. Further, in Chaldean, football equates to 35 as well. Speaking of football, the date of January 15, 1967 was a date with numerology of 83. So you would add 1 plus 15 plus 67 equates to 83. And football sums to 83 in ordinal gematria. As you learned last chapter, numerous times over, the number 83 is very much connected to murder. And on the subject, I should mention the fate of Vince Lombardi, the first Super Bowl winning coach, who now has the championship trophy named in his honor. On September 3rd, 1970, emphasis on 9-3, the man born Vincent Thomas Lombardi, summing to 93 in reduction, would drop dead unexpectedly, reportedly from cancer. You can also express the day he died as 3-9, and the word trophy sums to 39 in reduction. His death came 84 days, 2 months, 23 days after his June 11th birthday, being born in 1913, meaning he passed at age 57. In light of what you have already learned about the number 57 and championships, this should stand out in a big way. Please let it serve as a reminder that not only are the games rigged by the numbers, but the events that happen off the field in relation to the games are also contrived by the same code. So the word 57 equates to 131 in ordinal. Championship equates to 131 in ordinal. Super Bowl equates to 131 in ordinal. World Series equates to 57 in reduction. NBA Finals equates to 57 reverse reduction. The NBA Finals equates to 57 in reduction. S counted as 10. Joe Namath, his name equates to 57 reverse reduction. H counted as 10. Now, rather than go through how every single Super Bowl has been rigged by the numbers, which I could, and so can you by applying the code, I'll show you some standout facts about the history of the big game. Let us take a moment to pick on the New York teams, since once upon a time, Broadway Joe Namath guaranteed he would win Super Bowl III before doing just that, okay? Of course, he was able to make that guarantee because the script was in. That game was played January 12, 1969, which was a fitting date because it was the first Super Bowl to feature the name Super Bowl, a name summing to 112 in reverse ordinal gematria, not unlike the date 1/12. Okay? In the end, Broadway Joe and the New York Jets defeated the Baltimore Colts, led by Johnny Unitas, who were 18-point favorites with a score of 16-7, not too far off from 167, the 39th prime number. This matters because, as we learned, everything in New York is encoded with the number 39, from gematria to dates to history to architecture. Okay? As a reminder, New York sums to 39 in reduction. NY sums to 39 in ordinal. NYC equates to 39 in reverse ordinal, and Empire, as in Empire State, totals 39 in reduction as well. Further, New York hosted the World's Fair in 1939 and is now home to the United Nations building that is 39 floors tall. It is also a state that was established July 26, 1788, a date with numerology of 39 as follows. 726, 1788, you add 7 plus 2 plus 6 plus 1 plus 7 plus 8 plus 8, that equates to 39. Further, its first governor, okay, let me start that over. Further, its first governor was George Clinton, born July 26, 1739, emphasis on 39, and having a name George, summing to 39 in reduction, and a surname Clinton, summing to 39 in reverse reduction. Best of all, the state's most popular football team are the Giants, known as the G-Men, a nickname summing to 39 in the ordinal cipher. Okay? Proving the significance of 39 to New York further is the fact that every single Super Bowl won by a New York team has been in connection to the number 39. That includes the one by the Jets as mentioned, and 4 by the Giants, which are as follows. So, in Super Bowl 21, January 25th, 1987, Giants 39, Broncos 20. Winning score of 39 points. It was also Super Bowl 21, and G-Men sums to 21 in reduction, okay? Super Bowl 25, January 27, 1991. Giants 20, Bills 19. 39 combined points between two New York teams. It was also Super Bowl 25, and Giants summed to 25 in reduction, okay? Super Bowl 42, February 3rd, 2008. Giants 17, Patriots 14. The game was in Arizona, the only state equating to 39 in reduction besides New York. It was also on a date with numerology of 33. On the 33rd parallel north, and New York sums to 33 in reverse reduction, whereas Massachusetts sums to 33 in reduction. It was Super Bowl 42, and NYC has ordinal gematria of 42. Alright, Super Bowl 46, February 5th, 2012. Giants 21, Patriots 17. The game was played on the 39th parallel north in Indianapolis. Game was played on a date with numerology of 39. 2/5/2012, you add 2 plus 5 plus 20 plus 12, that gives you 39. It was also Super Bowl 46, and NYG has ordinal gematria of 46. New York Giants, NYG, okay? It is also worth noting that the Giants are 4-1 in the Super Bowl era, not too far off from 41, the Super Bowl related number. Their only loss came to the Baltimore Ravens, the same city that gave up Super Bowl III to the New York Jets. Further, the loss by the New York Giants came in Super Bowl 35 with a score of 34-7, summing to 41 points. Consider the team who won, the Ravens, have reduction gematria of 34. And I said that's Super Bowl 34. Gotcha. When S is counted as 10 and the city of Baltimore equates to 41 in reduction. So I'm going to read that one more time to put it in context for you, okay? Further, that loss by the New York Giants came in Super Bowl 34 with a score of 34-7, summing to 41 points. Consider the team who won, the Ravens, have reduction geometry of 34 when S is counted for 10, and the city of Baltimore equates to 41 in reduction. Okay. For the Giants fan out there who is going, but what about the helmet catch? Well, I'll tell you what. It was all technology and script. Before I prove the point, go back and watch the highlight of the play. After it happens, the camera pans to Eli Manning, the quarterback of the Giants, who had a face expression that was one part, I can't believe I'm out here doing this just because my father played for the NFL. And second part, and a second part that looked like he had just pooped his pants. In other words, he didn't look happy. He didn't look happy. He looked like he knew just how absurd the whole spectacle of the helmet catch was. And come on, people, who didn't notice when the New Orleans Saints, who won their first Super Bowl shortly after Hurricane Katrina, and it was by defeating Peyton Manning, the brother of Eli, the son of Archie Manning, the latter of which played several years for the city of New Orleans. I didn't even know gematria then, but I was long past knowing the NFL was a joke. Or how about Super Bowl 50 when Eli Manning received media criticism for turning his back on his brother in the stadium suite after Peyton won the championship game? Isn't it clear? Eli has been signaling the truth about the NFL with his body language for the better part of his career. As for the helmet catch, let's break it down. There was 1 minute 15 seconds left on the clock in the fourth quarter, and the ball was at the Giants' 44-yard line. This matters because helmet catch sums to 44 in reduction gematria. Despite the ball being at the 44-yard line, notice Eli Manning received the ball at the New York 39 due to being in the shotgun formation. I should mention Eli wears number 10, and 10, written as a word, has ordinal gematria of 39 as well. Anyhow, it was fitting he was in the shotgun formation because the word shotgun has reduction gematria of 32, similar to how NFL has ordinal gematria of 32. The NFL has 32 teams, and the play ended up netting 32 yards, taking the Giants to the New England 24-yard line, setting up to the New York Giants win for Super Bowl 42. Going further, the reception was made by number 85, David Tyree, by catching the ball against his helmet, which no doubt had a magnet in it along with the ball. Once again, it is technology, as well as referees and clock managers, that ensure outcomes in sports, which are rehearsed beforehand, no different than a stage play. Why do you think the media isn't allowed at practices and every NFL team has an indoor practice facility? As for Tyree wearing the number 58, National Football League sums to 85 in reduction gematria. National Football League sums to 85 in reduction gematria, complementing the 32-yard gain for what has been described as the NFL's greatest Super Bowl moment. Even further, his initials DT break down to 4 and 2 in reduction gematria, perfect for Super Bowl 42. Better yet is the ordinal gematria of his name, summing to 113, the number of mainstream deception. So, David Tyree equates to 113 in ordinal. Think about what 113 symbolizes. Lies. Deception. Oh my goodness. If you look even more closely, you'll notice both David Tyree and Eli Manning have the same birthday, January 3rd. However, David Tyree was born in 80 and Eli was born in 81. Consider that date can be expressed as 1-3, similar to 13. As we covered, that number connects to the NFL and the Super Bowl. And in this case, the game was won with a 13-yard touchdown pass from Eli Manning to Plexico Burress, which was a play that began with 39 seconds left on the clock. Further proving just how detailed the scripting is, the name Plexico Burress sums to 83 in reduction when S is counted for 10, and his touchdown capped off an 83-yard game-winning drive, the number symbolizing football. On top of that, Burress wore the number 17 for the Giants, who won the game with 17 points, and better yet, the name Eli has reduction gematria of 17 like Mason. Wow. As I have taught my followers for years, every sports game that is scripted is done so from the final score, to the box score, to the time on the clock, and to the hash marks on the field in the NFL as well as college football. Further, if you pay attention, you can often see how the clock is purposefully manipulated, starting late or stopping late, or having time added back on, and sometimes even subtracted. When you're awake to the code, it's easy to see why. Regarding that Super Bowl 42 win, there is one more point I want to make. The winning touchdown was scored with 35 seconds left in the game, the number we covered in regards to Super Bowl 1. Consider 35 is the reflection of 53, and the NFL is a league allowing teams to have a 53-man roster, and which plays on a field that is 53 1/3 yards wide. Again, this is because the football is the shape of the vesica Pisces, summing to 53 in reduction gematria. As for Eli Manning, his name sums to 53 in reduction, and of course, he was born to a star in the league, raised by his NFL player father, Archie, summing to 35 in reduction. Coming back to the winning touchdown being scored with 35 seconds left, the win came over NFL star Tom Brady, the man who is defined by the number 35. This is because the name Tom Brady sums to 35 in reduction gematria, and he was born August 3rd, 1977, a date with numerology of 35. So, Tom Brady, his name equates to 35 as stated in reduction. His birth date, 8/3/1977, you would add 8 plus 3 plus 1 plus 9 plus 7 plus 7, that equates to 35. Consider August 3 can be expressed as 8-3 like 83 for football. Peyton Manning was born March 24th, the 83rd day of the year. Peyton Manning and Tom Brady were the faces of the NFL for more than a decade. They say the best QB draft class was 1983, and not coincidentally. My goodness. So let us now transition to the very scripted career of Tom Brady, which began with him being the 199th pick of the 2000 NFL Draft out of Michigan by the New England Patriots. As you have learned, 199 is the 46th prime, corresponding with the fact that Michigan sums to 46 in reduction gematria. Tom Brady sums to 46 in reverse reduction gematria, and Patriots equate to 46 in reduction when S is counted for 10. To prove the significance of that number predating Tom Brady in the history of the Patriots is the fact that the Patriots were blown out by Chicago, a city summing to 46 in ordinal, 46-10 in Super Bowl 20, where the Bears were using the brand new revolutionary 4-6 defense. Talk about putting it in your face. Absolutely, man. That game was to close out the 85th NFL season. The year 85. The game was to close out the 85 NFL season, where the National Football League, summing to 85 in reduction, was once established in Chicago, Illinois. On the subject of 85, I should note the name Brady, the face of the NFL, is a name having reverse ordinal gematria of 85. I should also point out that the New England Patriots lead the NFL in Super Bowl appearances with 10, but only 2 of those appearances have been without Brady. The 2 he missed were the blowout against the Bears, as mentioned, and also Super Bowl 31. The Super Bowl 31 loss to the Green Bay Packers, 35-21, a score that should look awfully familiar. Wow. Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. equates to 199, reverse reduction, H counted as 10, P counted as 11, E counted as 22. Alright, let us now go back in time to when Tom Brady became the starter for the Patriots, September 23rd, 2001, 12 days after September 11th, which matters because Tom Brady wears the number 12. The name Tom equates to 12 in reduction, and he, along with Patriots, summing to 37 in reduction gematria, 37 is the 12th prime, became the class of the league just after the terrorist attack and in the time of the passing of the Patriot Act, which was finalized October 26, 2001. And when you add 10 plus 26 plus 01, that equals 37. And this was 45 days after September 11, and on the day leaving 66 days left in the year. In light of the timing of how sports and news are scripted together, consider that New England has reduction gematria of 45, and Patriot has reverse reduction gematria of 45. Further, NFL has Jewish gematria of 66, and the word freedom has ordinal gematria of 66. Of course, the Patriot Act was an Orwellian name and an attack on freedom, with the passing of a collection of police state bills that had failed to make it through Congress in the decades prior due to the way they encroached on the liberties of the American people. It took 9/11 to give them the light of day, and in total, just this short example alone proves how scripted our reality is, from the contrived news to the sports outcomes that are interlaced with it. And to take that thought further, consider how often during NFL commercials what is being marketed is the military, in light of us living in a military police state where the proles, P-R-O-L-E-S, are told to be all they can be by signing up as a New World Order mercenary. After all, 9/11 was a New World Order military agenda action. Furthering the point about scripted news and sports is the fact that Tom Brady's career began only after the Patriots' starting QB at the time, Drew Bledsoe, was sacked by a New York Jet, Mo Lewis, and injured. Think about it. Okay? As a reminder, the Jets won their only Super Bowl to conclude the 1968 season. As we learned earlier, it was the year 68 where 911 was made the national emergency dialing code. World Trade Center construction began. Space Odyssey 2001 released, and George W. Bush graduated from Yale Skull and Bones, plus George W. Bush's July 6th birthday is a span of 68 days from September 11th, where the number 68 connects to terror and CIA, and Mr. George Bush, where President Bush W. said terror, terror, terror all the time. That was his favorite word, terror. Man, it's crazy. Furthering the riddle, The name Mo Lewis sums to 33 in reduction gematria, just the same as false flag, where September 11, 2001 came 33 years after 1968. At the same time, New York equates to 33 in reverse reduction. Massachusetts sums to 33 in reduction. And Tom equates to 33 in reverse ordinal. For one more 33. It was the date numerology of September 23rd, 2001, or 9 plus 23 plus 01 equals 33. And for even one more, NFL has satanic gematria of 137, which is the 33rd prime. Also important, it was a date with numerology of 53 as well, and Patriots sum to 53 in reverse reduction. So you would add 9 plus 23 plus 20 plus 01, that equates to 53, I'm assuming. Let me add this up really quick. Yeah, that's 53. Give me 1 second here. Like I said, he had to write this book on his own, and there'll be mistakes here and there, but he has still done an awesome job. Oh shoot, I cleared it. Sorry about that. 9. Oh man, I messed up the whole thing, but I'm sure he meant 53. Clear. And I'm just gonna make sure I do it, because what I did. Okay, just give me a moment. Yes, 53. That's what he was saying, but he had wrote 51 by mistake. But it is 53. No problem. Moving right along. Following the riddle, Tom Brady would lead the Patriots to the playoffs, where he faced his first playoff opponent, January 19th, or 1/19, like 119, similar to how the date of September 11th can be expressed as 9/11 or 11/9. Wow. That was the infamous game against the Oakland Raiders, where Tom Brady fumbled late and should have lost, but the referees invoked what is known as the tuck rule, maintaining the possession for the Patriots and helping them advance to the next round of the playoffs. Not by coincidence, tuck rule, Tuckrule, tuck rule has ALW Kabbalah gematria of 119, like the date 11/9. Okay? And septenary gematria of 37, corresponding with Patriots in reduction. Consider they would win that game 16-13, where 53, connecting to Patriots, is the 16th prime number. Better yet, the winning points were kicked through the uprights by Adam Vinatieri, a man having a surname summing to 53 in reduction. At the same time, the total sum of 29 points connects to the reduction gematria of football, as well as the age of Adam Vinatieri at the time. For a bonus point, Ohio, the birthplace of football, has reduction gematria of 29, which breaks down to 11 in numerology, and where football is a game of 11 on 11. After the controversial win over the Raiders in the next round, 24-year-old Tom Brady and company, in his Patriots' 42nd NFL season, would defeat the Pittsburgh Steelers 24-17 with a score summing to 41 points, which was perfect for advancing to the Super Bowl as they did. Wow. Then in the Super Bowl, the Patriots would defeat the St. Louis Rams 20-17 with a sum of 37 points, connecting to Patriots as well as Tom through the prime number relationship of 37 and 12. The Patriots became 1-2 in Super Bowl as well. 1-2, like 12. Consider that was Super Bowl 36, and the word Patriot, the singular, has reduction gematria of 36. Patriots also sums to 36 in septenary cipher. And with regards to it being the Patriots' 42nd season, Missouri, excuse me, where the Rams were from at the time, has a reduction value of 42. As you know, math equates to 42 in ordinal. And I bring up this point because it was Tom Brady's 185th day of being 24 years old when he won Super Bowl 36, where mathematics has reversed ordinal gematria of 185, similar to how World Trade Center sums to 185 in ordinal, and where geometry has reverse reduction gematria of 36 as well as reduction gematria of 45, similar to how New England summing to 45 in reduction and reverse reduction. Now please ask yourself, do you think it was a coincidence Mo Lewis, the New York Jet, who injured Drew Bledsoe, wore the number 57? Starting the Super Bowl run for Tom Brady that couldn't have been any more mathematically perfect? My God. If you do, I'll add the fact that Drew Bledsoe sums to 112 in ordinal, the same as mathematics, and similar to how Super Bowl sums to 112 using the reverse ordinal cipher. Better yet, it was 31 weeks and 4 days, like pi 3.14, after his 29th birthday, February 14, 2001, which is the 45th day of the year. The Patriots' next Super Bowl win would come in Super Bowl 38, defeating the Carolina Panthers. Appropriately, the name Panthers summed to 38 in reduction gematria, making them the right opponent for the matchup. The final score of that game was 32-29, a fitting score for the very American New England Patriots to win with, especially since the game was played February 1st, the 32nd day of the year. As a reminder, America sums to 32 in reduction and was established on a date with numerology of 32, July 4th, 1776, equating to 32 as follows: 7 plus 4 plus 1 plus 7 plus 7 plus 6 equates to 32. As for the sum of the score, 61 total points. That number corresponds with the head coach of the Patriots, Bill Belichick, summing to 61 in reduction gematria. Confirming that the score was a tribute to him was the fact that his 52nd birthday, April 16, 2004, was 75 days after the game was played February 1st, 2004. This matters because the team he beat, the Carolina Panthers, equates to 75 in reduction gematria. Considering he was turning 52 years old, it should be noted that NWO has ordinal gematria of 52 and New World Order has reduction gematria of 52. This riddle also reminds that Tom Brady took over the New England Patriots on September 23, 2001. His 52nd day of his age, and where 239 is the 52nd prime number. Think about it. September 23rd or 23/9 and 239. Wow. And speaking of Tom Brady, number 12, consider the Patriots won on 1-2, February 1st, which can be expressed as 1/2. Alrighty. Let me just check something real quick here. Okay, moving right along. The Patriots would then go on to win the next Super Bowl as well. Number 39 on February 6, 2005, a date with numerology of 33 over the Philadelphia Eagles from the Keystone State, a nickname summing to 33 in reduction. This was a fitting matchup because Empire has reduction gematria of 39, and what NFL teams could be more symbolic of the Empire than the Patriots, with the flag on the side of their helmet, against the Eagles, the national bird, and the team from Philadelphia, where the U.S. flag was sewn at 239 Arch Street. The final score of the game was 24-21, a sum of 45 points, corresponding with the reduction gematria of New England, as well as 13 as a word, which sums to 45 in reduction and reverse reduction. Consider the flag has 13 stripes, and the Patriots and Eagles would meet again 13 years later, which we'll cover ahead. At the same time, don't forget how significant the number 13 is to the NFL and Super Bowl. Another point worth mentioning is that the Patriots improved to 3-2 in Super Bowls all time, similar to America, summing to 32. The next two Super Bowls for the Patriots would be numbers 42 and 46, where they lost both to the Giants led by Eli Manning, making Tom Brady 3-2 all time in the big game. The reason Eli Manning is the kryptonite of Tom Brady can be found in the same gematria. Let us examine both players using the ordinal method. Tom Brady equates to 98 in ordinal. Patriots equates to 98 reverse ordinal. New England Patriots equate to 98 reverse reduction. Eli Manning equates to 98 in ordinal. Okay? Thus, you could say Eli Manning has Tom Brady's and the New England Patriots number. Consider that the only other Super Bowl Tom Brady has lost to date was Super Bowl 52 to close out the 98th NFL season. Ahead, we'll talk about that game and how the Philadelphia Eagles have won all their NFL championships in connection to the number 98, a pattern that goes well beyond coincidence. We'll also examine how Pennsylvania, the home state of the Eagles, sums to 53 in reduction, the same as Eli Manning, and the Eagles made Tom Brady 5-3 in Super Bowls all time on what would have been Jerome Brown's 53rd birthday, the former Philadelphia Eagle who died at age 27 before Super Bowl 27, as discussed in the chapter on murder by numbers. The New England Patriots' next Super Bowl win would come in Super Bowl 49, which was the 45th Super Bowl of the modern era. In case you are not aware, the AFL and the NFL had not merged until the 5th iteration of the Super Bowl, which began the modern era of the NFL. Fittingly, the Patriots defeated the team from Washington State, the Seattle Seahawks, a state summing to 49 in reduction gematria. Better yet, the Tom Brady-led Patriots improved to 4-2 in Super Bowls, and Washington is the 42nd state in order of statehood, plus Seahawks sums to 42 in reduction when S is counted for 10. You might recall that game came down to the goal line, as the Super Bowl has a history of doing so. It ended with the Seattle Seahawks choosing to throw the ball at the 1-yard line for the first time all season, instead of running the ball as they had done with great success the entire year. This was because they had Marshawn Lynch in the backfield, possibly the most powerful runner in the history of the game. Of course, the decision to throw the ball was part of the script, meant to mock the fans and to help the Patriots secure the predetermined outcome. If you go back and look at the box score, you'll see that it was Russell Wilson's 21st pass of the game, which was intercepted by number 21 of the Patriots on down 2nd and 1 on the date February 1 or 2-1. Fittingly, when you write out 21 as a word, it has reduction and Chaldean gematria of 42. Consider, this Super Bowl was also predicted by the Madden video game before the season even began, with the Patriots beating the Seahawks 28-24, which ended up being the exact score of the game. The media hailed the prediction as a miracle. But you know better, truth seeker. Absolutely. I'll also note Seahawks sums to 24 in reduction gematria, the score they lost with. You bastards. Oh my God, this is crazy. Consider the year prior. The Seahawks had won Super Bowl 48 with 43 points. This was funny because Seahawks sums to 43 in reverse reduction, and Seattle Seahawks sums to 43 in reduction. My goodness. Coming back to Super Bowl 49 for a moment, the goal line finish mocking wasn't quite finished when the game ended. That's because number 21 of the Patriots, Malcolm Butler, who made the game-winning interception, would attend the Grammys just after the Super Bowl, where he would intercept an award, then read the winner for Best Album of the Year. That winner was Beck, a name summing to 21 in ordinal gematria, who had put out his 12th studio album. Okay. Further, the ESPYs and ESPN's Sports Awards ceremony after Super Bowl 49 would begin with a joke about how the Seahawks could have been Super Bowl champions if only they had handed the ball off to Lynch. Not by coincidence, ESPYs sums to 21 in reduction gematria. Adding to the mocking, the next year of the ESPYs would begin with WWE star John Cena, C-E-N-A, John Cena, probably, explaining how all of pro sports were no different than rigged and scripted professional wrestling. Sadly for America, very few people understood the joke. Absolutely. It's some BS. Moving on. The next Patriots Super Bowl win would be in Super Bowl 51 on February 5th, 2017 over the Atlanta Falcons, making it so the Patriots had beaten 3 out of the 4 NFL bird teams in the NFC. The only one missing, the Arizona Cardinals, who have never sniffed the big game. Okay? As I told my followers then, Patriots over Falcons was a lock because of the way the numbers lined up and what had transpired over the course of the season. One of those notable events was the return of Tom Brady, October 9th, 2016, from his Deflategate suspension. I remember Deflategate. Oh my gosh. Which was a theatrical event and completely contrived narrative. It was a completely contrived narrative by the numbers. Absolutely. In Tom Brady's return, the Patriots defeated the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland 33-13, a score that stands out for multiple reasons. First, in addition to Tom and Massachusetts equating to 33, so does Cleveland in reduction. Second, the total amount of points was 46, which is a symbolic number to the Patriots and Tom Brady as covered. Further, they would go on to win Super Bowl 51, a number summing to 46 in reduction when written out as 51 as words. Okay, in Houston, Texas, also equating to 46 in reduction. So Houston, Texas equates to 46 in reduction. Third, with the win, the Patriots improved to 4-1 on the season, similar to how Super Bowl sums to 41 in reduction, same as Deflategate. The night of that win over Cleveland, the TV show The Simpsons would air their 599th episode all time, which was about the Patriots, titled The Town, summing to 33 in reduction, the same as the name Simpson, and corresponding with the fact that the Patriots had won with 33 points earlier in the day. Consider that number 599 is the 109th prime number, and the date of the show was October 9th or 10/9, like 109, alright? Further, number 109 is the 29th prime, and again, football and Ohio have reduction gematria of 29, where the Patriots had just won in Ohio over the team Bill Belichick used to coach. He used to coach, okay? At the same time, October 9th leaves 83 days left in the year, and as you know, football sums to 83 in ordinal. It was also a date with numerology of 35. 10 plus 9 plus 16 equates to 35. The Tom Brady number. Better yet, that episode, along with Tom Brady's debut for the season, came 119 days before Super Bowl 51. This matters because The Simpsons is set in Springfield, summing to 119 in ordinal, and it is written by Matthew Abraham Groening, a name summing to 119 in reverse reduction. For another tribute to 119, the name of the Patriots tight end Rob Gronkowski was changed to Bonkowski for the cartoon episode, summing to 119 in ordinal. What all of this was pointing to was the fact that the Patriots would face the Falcons, summing to 119 in reverse ordinal. And better than that, it was also pointing to the 28-3 comeback to take place in Super Bowl 51 over the Falcons by the Patriots, because The Town was season 28, episode 3. Wow. With the Simpsons on the brain momentarily, I would like to go back to the USA Today article written about me on January 27, 2016, which was composed because I had exposed the outcome of Super Bowl 50 months before it was played. That article closes with the paragraph shown, and I will read this paragraph. Once you look at all the facts, everything falls into place. Although I do have one beef with Hubbard. Well, one beef other than the fact that he believes the Sandy Hook shooting was a hoax, about 47,000 other vile things he has to say on his 2003 style blog. And I don't believe Sandy Hook took place either. Some BS. I don't believe the Freemasons are behind all of this, and they are, well, actually, the Jesuits, that's Freemason too. I think once you dig deep enough, you'll see it was the stone cutters all along. You bastard Groening, or whoever wrote this shit is a freaking liar. So, let me get back to where we go here. Okay. The article closes with the paragraph shown where the author states he doesn't think it is the Freemasons rigging the NFL, but instead the stonecutters. If you read the online article, you can click the hyperlink on the word stonecutters, which takes you to a clip of The Simpsons from season 6, episode 12. That episode is titled Homer the Great, summing to 143 in ordinal, like Scottish Rites of Freemasonry sums to 143 in reverse reduction. More specifically, the clip is of the song We Do, summing to 47 in ordinal, which was nominated for an Emmy. And as for stone cutters, it sums to 73 in reverse reduction, similar to how Mason sums to 73 in reverse ordinal. Even more, the singular stone cutter sums to 43 in reduction, like how Masonic equates to 43 in reverse reduction. And further, stone cutter sums to 137 in reverse ordinal, the 33rd prime number. Boy, MFers. Last, in light of him referencing 47,000 other vile things in regards to my blog and linking We Do, it should be noted that the author, Ryan Phillips, has a surname summing to 47 in reduction, Phillips, okay? Beyond that, the name Ryan Phillips has gematria of 165 and 159 in the base ciphers, the same as Scottish Rite. This matters because the Scottish Rite created American football. Back on the subject of Super Bowl 51, Tom Brady would become 5-2 all-time in Super Bowls, given the AFC its 25th Super Bowl win on the date February 5th, which can be expressed as 5-2 or 2-5, much like 5-2 and 2-5, and in the Patriots' 57th NFL season. Regarding 25, Super Bowl 51 closed out the 97th NFL season, and 97 is the 25th prime number, which was right for Bill Belichick to win because his name sums to 97 in ordinal gematria. It was this prime number relationship that was the reason the NFL moved the touchback from 20 yards to 25 yards for the 97th season. It was also for this reason that Tom Brady won the game on a scripted 25-point comeback over the Falcons, summing to 25 in reduction gematria. I'll also note that the word Pope has reduction gematria of 25, and Pope Francis blessed Super Bowl 51, coming a span of 51 days from his 80th birthday, December 17, 2017. Once again, Pope Francis is the first openly Jesuit pope, and the owner of the Falcons, Arthur Blank, has the Jesuit order's birthday, September 27. At the same time, Atlanta is on the 84th meridian, corresponding with the ordinal gematria of Jesuit, summing to 84. Even more, Falcons wear red and black, which is the color scheme of the Jesuit order. And for one last point on the connection to the Pope, both Francis and Vatican have reversed ordinal gematria of 119, same as Falcons. If you missed the game, the comeback should have never happened that allowed the Patriots to win, and only did because the games are scripted. In case you missed the game, let me tell you what happened at the end. The Falcons were up 8 points and had 1st and 10 at the Patriots' 22nd yard line. If they were attempting to win the game, they would have ran the ball 3 straight times, milking the clock and then kicking a field goal to go up 11 points with somewhere around 2 minutes left in the game. With a two-score lead, the Super Bowl would have been theirs. Instead, they decided to pass the ball, taking a big sack loss and then getting a holding call, which set up the 3rd down and 33. Quite fitting since Atlanta is on the 33rd parallel and the number relates in a big way to Tom in the NFL. Wow, 3rd and 33 is crazy. Due to the loss of yards, the Falcons could no longer kick a field goal and had to punt, which allowed the Patriots to drive and tie the game, sending it to overtime 28-28 before winning in overtime 34-28. which, by the way, was the first overtime in the history of the NFL, and which was something I predicted would happen, in addition to the Patriots winning the game. The reason I predicted we would see the first overtime is because the word has reduction gematria of 44, same as Georgia, and the game was on a date with numerology of 44. February 5th, 2017, you would add 2 plus 5 plus 20 plus 17. That equates to 44. Plus, the Falcons from Georgia had advanced to the Super Bowl with 44 points in the NFC Championship game over the team Wisconsin, the only other state having reduction gematria of 44. And oh, by the way, I pointed out before the season began that the Falcons and Packers were two teams that could possibly represent in the Super Bowl for the NFC due to their gematria connections. Between the two, I gave the edge to the Falcons because Matt Ryan, summing to 112 in ordinal like Houston, where Super Bowl 51 was hosted, was one of only two quarterbacks in the league with name gematria equating to that value. The other was Andrew Luck, who played his high school ball in Houston, where his father, Oliver Luck, had once been a quarterback for the Houston Oilers. If you noticed in 2017, Andrew Luck was added to the Colts IR on November 2nd or 11/12, and supposedly on that same day, the Houston Texans' young star quarterback Deshaun Watson tore his ACL at practice. And yes, injuries are faked in pro sports by the numbers as often as games are scripted. Recall, he was a young man who beat Alabama by the numbers in the NCAA, as discussed earlier. I'll also note about Andrew Luck. He plays for the Colts, which have a horseshoe for a symbol, summing to 112 in ordinal, and being a symbol of luck. How fans overlook these things or chalk them up to coincidence is beyond me. And the subject of 112, I should note that the Patriots opened their Super Bowl 51 season on the 112th Meridian West, beating the Arizona Cardinals by the numbers. Man, this is some crazy crap. Coming back to Super Bowl 51, I should point out what was so fascinating about the halftime entertainment, which was performed by Lady Gaga, who was born March 28 or 28/3, reminiscent to the 28-3 comeback and the game being foreshadowed through The Simpsons in season 28, episode 3. Consider, both Lady Gaga and Houston, where the game was played, have reduction gematria of 31, and the Patriots scored 31 unanswered points in their victory. Better yet, Lady Gaga's 31st birthday was precisely 51 days after Super Bowl 51. As they say, you couldn't have scripted it any better. Absolutely, absolutely. Another interesting thing about the game being in Houston was the stadium it was played in, NRG, summing to 39 in ordinal. That same stadium had construction begin on March 9th, or 3/9, which was fitting because Tom Brady would go on to win Super Bowl 51 there at age 39. If you do the math, I don't know if that's 51. I think it is. L is 50. So LI, Super Bowl LI at age 39. Tom Brady would win, okay? If you do the math, you'll notice L, the 12th letter, breaks down to 3 in numerology, and I, the 9th letter, breaks down to 9. Thus, LI in English gematria symbolizes 39, the age Brady took the cake. Consider that came 1 year after Peyton Manning won Super Bowl 50 and rode off into the sunset at age 39. Speaking of which, the weekend before the Super Bowl, on January 29th, 2017, the WWE's Royal Rumble was won by 39-year-old John Cena, Cena, representing Boston. Like the Patriots over AJ Styles, the WWE star representing the city of Atlanta. Making matters even more interesting, AJ Styles sums to 51 in reverse reduction, like the Super Bowl number, and his full name, Alan Neil Jones, equates to 49, 139, and 239 in the base ciphers, same as Atlanta Falcons. The ultimate kicker was this WWE tribute to the NFL. Came a year after John Cena had told the world at the ESPYs that pro sports were no different than the WWE. And he's shoot. As for the Super Bowl 51 score, the sum of 62 points scored, 34-28, complemented the fact that Tom Brady had a record 62 passing attempts in the game that went with 93 total offensive plays for the Patriots. Immediately after the game, I told my followers they could chalk Super Bowl 50 up for a Tom Brady appearance as well. That is because Minneapolis sums to 62 in reverse reduction, and Minneapolis, Minnesota totals 93 in reduction, a city that is also located on the 93rd Meridian West. Of course, Tom Brady did make it to Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota, summing to 52 in reverse reduction. Along the way, for the 2017-18 NFL season, he led the league in passing yards with 4,577, beating the runner-up Philip Rivers, who had 4,515 by a margin of 62 yards. Oh my goodness. The Patriots also traded away their star backup quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, the 62nd overall pick of the 2014 NFL Draft, on the day leaving 62 days left in the year, October 30th, 2017. Fittingly, that was a date with numerology of 77. 10 plus 30 plus 20 plus 17 equates to 77. And Jimmy Garoppolo equates to 77 in reduction gematria, as does the nickname Jimmy G in ordinal. Further, recall that if you write out 77, it has reduction gematria of 49, and Jimmy G was traded to the San Francisco 49ers, where Jimmy would finish the 2017-18 NFL season with 62 days later, December 31st, 2017. So he finished his NFL season with them 62 days later. Wow. This stuff is just crazy. Crazy. But this is what they've been doing forever. The 62 riddles with the New England Patriots didn't just stop with their team, however. On the day the Patriots advanced to Super Bowl 52, January 21st, 2018, the Boston Bruins, the NHL team, were at 62 points in the standings, and the Boston Celtics lost to the Orlando Magic, remaining at 62 wins all time against Orlando. Consider the Orlando basketball team is quite close to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who the Patriots had defeated the same day in the AFC Championship. Wow. Even more, Tom Brady's alma mater, Michigan, won their basketball game over Rutgers 62-47 on the same day, just like how the Celtics were 62-47 all time against the Magic before losing the day of. As hard as this might be to believe, when you follow rigged sports by knowing the code, you see how often rituals such as this take place, proving how the entire world of professional and collegiate sports are scripted together as one giant web. It truly is brilliant and sick all at the same time. Absolutely. I mean, this is, oh my God, why can't they just use this for good to help everybody? But no. It's all about control. It's all about wickedness. All about just hurting people. Just, oh my God. As for Super Bowl 52, I told the world it would be Patriots versus Eagles after what transpired in Week 3 of the NFL season. That was because on September 23rd, 2017, the day before the Week 3 games, Donald Trump took on the NFL on the subject of players protesting the U.S. flag and national anthem. Because I knew that Donald Trump had the same birthday as the flag, June 14th, and he had taken office as president while the flag was 239 years old, and the flag was sewn at 239 Arch Street in Philadelphia. And because I was well aware of how sports and news are scripted together, it was a clear read for Philadelphia to be in the big game facing the Patriots, who have the flag on their helmet. Consider further, the number 239 is the 52nd prime number. It was also for this reason that I predicted the Eagles would beat the Falcons in the playoffs before the playoffs were even set, because Atlanta Falcons are the only team summing to 239 in reverse ordinal gematria, and earlier in the year they had faced the Green Bay Packers precisely 239 days after they had met in the NFC Championship the season prior. Sure enough, that happened in the divisional round, as we'll get to. I should also note that Trump's fight with the NFL protesters came 101 days after the flag's birthday, where Philadelphia has ordinal gematria of 101, and the word flag has a value of 26 in the same cipher. As you learned in Chapter 1, 101 is the 26th prime number. I predicted then that people should expect to see the Philadelphia Eagles achieve a record of 10-1 in the regular season, which would be indicative of them going to the Super Bowl. Of course, that happened along with them making it to the big dance, okay? In Week 14, when the Philadelphia Eagles star quarterback was injured, many people who followed me began to tell me that I had to be wrong about the Eagles because no way were they going to make it with a backup quarterback. I quickly responded by telling them they were overlooking the riddle that had taken place. First of all, the Eagles quarterback wasn't really injured. It was another fakery for the sake of the narrative. Consider, the Eagles won that game over the Los Angeles Rams with 43 points, which is the 14th prime number, fitting for Week 14, and better yet, the supposed injury was a torn ACL, summing to 43 in reverse reduction. Beyond that, the man inserted for the remainder of the game after the injury of Carson Wentz was Nick Foles, who had previously played for the Rams, the opponent that day. As for Mr. Foles, his initials were perfect in light of the flag ritual. Consider N is the 14th letter and F is the 6th, not unlike the date June 14 or 14/6, which is the flag's birthday, June 14, 1777. Even better, the name Nick Foles has reverse ordinal gematria of 149 like Revelation, where Philadelphia is the name from Revelation and where 149 is the 35th prime number. That mattered because the upcoming Super Bowl at the time was on February 4th, the 35th day of the year, and as I had been saying, the Eagles were to face Tom Brady, who I like to call Agent 35. 5. I should note that at the end of Week 14, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Pittsburgh Steelers had the best records in the NFL for 2017-18. This was not arbitrary. As mentioned, 43 is the 14th prime number, and in the year 43, the Steelers and Eagles joined teams. The Steelers and Eagles joined teams, becoming the Steagles due to a shortage of men caused by World War II. I didn't know that. In light of the Steelers having the best Super Bowl record in the NFL of 6-2 at the time, it is interesting to note that by the Eagles defeating the Patriots in Super Bowl 52, it kept Tom Brady from matching that record, where he could have improved to 6-2 in Super Bowls had he defeated the Eagles in Minnesota, the land of 62, in the year of several 62 tributes as covered. Consider further, the Eagles and Patriots had a combined Super Bowl record of 7-4 by the end of Super Bowl 52, which finished with a score of 41-33, a sum of 74 points, which we'll talk more about ahead. Wow. In light of the fact we're exposing how sports are scripted, I should also like to point out a bit more about the Eagles' Week 14 game, where I guaranteed they would beat the Los Angeles Rams in Los Angeles, thanks to the fact that Kobe Bryant, the Philadelphia product who made his name in LA, being a part of the action. It was through him that the victory for the Eagles was all but ensured. Notice the headline to the left, and it says, Kobe Bryant's rendition of Fly Eagles Fly is very intense, okay? And the emphasis on Fly Eagles Fly. In ordinal gematria, the Eagles theme song Fly Eagles Fly sums to 135. At the same time, Kobe Bean Bryant, the Philadelphia native, sums to 135 in the same cipher. Further, the key of David equates to 135, which is an instrument of prophecy written about in Revelation in the letter addressed to the Church of Philadelphia. And fittingly, the city of Philadelphia was established October 27, 1682, a date with numerology of 135. So that would be 10/27, 1682. You would add 10 plus 27 plus 16 plus 82. That equates to 135. It was for this reason that Carson Wentz, the young star quarterback of the Eagles, began his rookie season setting an NFL record, which was no interceptions until his 135th pass. Go figure. Oh my God. My goodness. For a bit more on the Kobe Bryant riddle, he wore an Eagles jersey with the number 8 on it, like the number he began his Lakers career with. Not by surprise, the Eagles would beat the Los Angeles Rams in Week 14 by 8 points, 43-35. This margin of victory becomes all the more interesting when you realize 8, written as a word, sums to 49 in ordinal, same as Eagles, which corresponds with Revelation, summing to 49 in reduction. At the same time, NFL sums to 49 in reverse ordinal, and Super Bowl sums to 49 in reverse reduction. Thus, this symbolic win was yet another sign of the Eagles' destiny. Speaking of signs, another symbolic moment for the Philadelphia Eagles was advancing to the Super Bowl in Minnesota by defeating the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship on January 21st, 2018. Consider that date can be expressed as 1/21, similar to 121, and Revelation equates to 121 in the ordinal gematria. January 21st, 2018 was also the Philadelphia kicker's 23rd birthday. The man known as Jake Elliott. Think about it. Being the kicker's birthday at this symbolic moment in light of the sport being football. And he has foot. Underline, oh man. I should note that earlier in the season, I told people to document his 61-yard field goal, which was a record for the Philadelphia Eagles, where Philadelphia sums to 61 in reverse reduction, similar to how church sums to 61 in ordinal. And again, the name of the city originates from the Bible and the Church of Philadelphia. Wow. Even more, the number 61 is the 18th prime, and no doubt the long field goal foreshadowed the Eagles winning the Super Bowl to start 2018, emphasis on 18. It's just crazy. For a bit more on the record setter, that game-winning kick, no doubt ensured with drone technology, came in Week 3 matchup with the New York Giants the day after Donald Trump took on the NFL over the flag. It was played on September 24th, the day leaving 98 days left in the year, which corresponded perfectly with it being the 98th NFL season. Consider Eli Manning, summing to 98 in ordinal, went down in that game thanks to the kick. Further, the long boot by Elliott came 133 days before Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota, a state summing to 133 in reverse ordinal, and coinciding with the fact that football also has reverse ordinal gematria of 133. It was also indicative of the fact that the Eagles would finish 13-3. Excuse me. As well as the Patriots, who they would face in the Super Bowl. And considering the 61-yard field goal, gave the Eagles 27 points. It is no doubt pointing to the Eagles winning the 27th Super Bowl for the NFC as they did. Wow. As for the significance of 98 in Philadelphia's history, let us examine their prior championships, which all came before the Super Bowl era. The first was over the Chicago Cardinals, 7-0. December 19, 1948, a date with numerology of 98. 12 plus 19 plus 19 plus 48 equates to 98. The second was over the Los Angeles Rams, 14-0, December 18, 1949, a fitting year for the Eagles, and also on a date with numerology of 98. 12 plus 18 plus 19 plus 49 equates to 98. The third was over the Green Bay Packers, 17-13, December 26, 1960. And of course, on a date with numerology of 98, 12 plus 26 plus 60 equals 98. That would be their last until winning the Super Bowl 57 years later to close out the 98th NFL season. I imagine this is so because the word prophet, Prophet, has an ordinal gematria of 98, and Philadelphia is associated with the prophecy of the Holy Bible. Speaking of which, prophecy has reduction gematria of 52, meshing nicely with Super Bowl 52, closing out the 98th NFL season. And on the subject of 57, it should be noted that the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl over the Patriots with LeGarrette Blount, who celebrated his 31st birthday December 5th, 2017, 61 days before winning the Super Bowl. Better yet, he had won the Super Bowl the year prior with the Patriots in their 57th season. Even more, Alshon Jeffrey, the Eagles star wide receiver, predicted exactly 57 weeks before Super Bowl 52, that he would win it. That was January 1st, 2017. While with the Chicago Bears, the team that blew out the Patriots in the 85 NFL season, whereas the Eagles in their 85th season beat the Patriots in their 58th season. As a reminder, National Football League sums to 85 in reduction, and Freemasonry sums to 58 in the same cipher, for one more 57. The Vikings, who hosted Super Bowl 52, were in their 57th season as a franchise, making it the perfect year to play host and play in the NFC Championship. It didn't hurt either that the Eagles head coach Doug Peterson had a January 31st birthday, not too far off from 131, the Super Bowl number having relationship with 57. Consider Doug Peterson was a member of the Green Bay Packers team when they defeated the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 31, January 26, 1997, which might be why LeGarrette Blount's 31st birthday was 57 days before Peterson's. Regarding Alshon Jeffrey, who guaranteed the Super Bowl 52 win, he signed a $52 million contract on December 2nd, 2017, 74 days before his 28th birthday on February 14th, 2018, and 65 days before winning Super Bowl 41-33, combining to 74 points. In case of 65, Philadelphia has reduction gematria of 65, same as Christianity. And I shouldn't have to tell you about the significance of 74 with Christianity in mind. Consider, Revelation is about the return of Jesus Christ, which is who Doug Peterson thanked as soon as he won the biggest game of his coaching career. It was also who the Eagles tight end Zach Ertz thanked and gave praise to after the game, as did Nick Foles. In the case of Zach Ertz, you must know that he wore the number 86, and he scored the winning touchdown 86 days after his 27th birthday, November 10th, 2017. This matters because the U.S. Congress adopted the national anthem, a big part of the 2017-18 NFL season riddle, on March 3, 1931, 86 years prior to the start of the season. Speaking of Jesus Christ, summing to 74 in reverse reduction and 43 in reduction, I should note how he factored into the playoffs leading up to the Super Bowl. In the case of the Eagles, they won their first playoff game in the divisional round over the Atlanta Falcons with 15 points. Then they beat the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship with 38, meaning they scored 43 points in the playoffs to advance to the Super Bowl, which was factored into what we discussed with the Eagles and Steelers joining teams in 1943. As for winning with 15 and 38, what else is important to understand is that 15, written as a word, has reduction gematria of 38, and Minnesota as well as U.S. Bank Stadium equate to 38 in the same cipher. U.S. Bank Stadium is the building Super Bowl 52 was played in, and think about it. The Eagles beat Minnesota with 38 to advance to the Super Bowl in Minnesota. For you Vikings fans out there, you might recall Gary Anderson missed the 38-yard field goal in the 98 NFL season in the NFC Championship, causing your team to miss the Super Bowl. What you can now know is that 38-yard miss was by design, part of the script, and it isn't a coincidence that his full name, Gary Allen Anderson, equates to 98 in reverse reduction, or that Vikings sums to 98 in reverse ordinal. If you'll recall, he had a perfect season in 98 until the draining miss for Vikings fans. Sadly, that's the way the tyrants who run the league love to do the fans, breaking their hearts at the most opportune times. Wow. With that said, sometimes they throw the fans a bone, and the Minnesota Vikings faithful got to experience that on January 14, 2018, in the play that is now remembered as the Minnesota Miracle, which advanced the Vikings to face the Eagles in Philadelphia in the NFC Championship, with an opportunity to become the first team to play in their own venue for the Super Bowl. I'll cut to the suspense right now, as it was no miracle, just more script and major mocking by the numbers. If you're an NFL fan, I'm sure you remember the number 61. I'm sorry. If you're an NFL fan, I'm sure you remember the 61-yard game-winning touchdown on the pass from Case Keenum, the Minnesota starter at the time, who was a career backup and who played with Nick Foles on the Rams, the first team the Eagles ever beat in a championship. But anyway, I'm gonna omit this last part I just read, so I'll just start over. If you're an NFL fan, I'm sure you remember the 61-yard game-winning touchdown on the pass from Case Keenum, the Minnesota starter at the time, which was caught by number 14, Stefon Diggs, who then had number 43 of the New Orleans Saints miss the easy tackle that would have ended the game, winning it for New Orleans. Wow. Due to the miss, however, it allowed Diggs to run untouched into the end zone with no time left in the game on the 14th day of the month, 43, the 14th prime, giving the Vikings the miraculous and unlikely win. Wow. I know I butchered that. Sorry. Consider that play was to advance to Philadelphia for the NFC Championship, the city summing to 61 in reverse reduction. Further, the word miracle has an ordinal value of 61. Better yet, Jesus sums to 61 in reverse ordinal, and Jesus Christ sums to 146 in the same cipher. I bring up the part about 146 because the man who caught the pass, Diggs, was the 146th pick of the 2015 NFL Draft, further proving just how well planned out the NFL script is, which absolutely includes the draft position of the players. Another point of consideration is that Diggs was born in 93, going well with the gematria of Minneapolis, Minnesota, summing to 93 in reduction and being located on the 93rd parallel north. At the same time, Minneapolis, Minnesota has reverse reduction gematria of 114, not unlike the date of the play, January 14th or 1/14. Further, the name Stefon, Stefon, the name Stefon Diggs sums to 53 in reduction gematria, matching the date numerology, January 14, 2018, or 1 plus 14 plus 20 plus 18 equates to 53. And better yet, his full name, Stefon Marshawn, Marsean, Marshawn Diggs. Stefon Marshawn Diggs has reverse reduction gematria of 101, matching the ordinal gematria of Philadelphia, which he helped his team advance to face. Sadly for the Vikings fans, in that next game, they would be blown out 38-7, a sum of 45 points, which was right for Philadelphia since they were advancing to face New England in the Super Bowl for the first time in 13 years, where they had lost in Super Bowl 39, 24-21. It's also worth noting that the number 45 connects to Holy Bible because the Eagles beating the Vikings in the NFC Championship, they became 15-3 on the season, similar to 153, which corresponds with the reverse ordinal gematria of Holy Bible. And of course, they did that on January 21st, the date connecting to Revelation, because Revelation equals 121. January is the first month, so that'd be 121. Oh my God, this stuff is just, it is horrible, horrible, horrible. Man. That also means that when the Eagles defeated the Patriots in the Super Bowl, they became 16-3 on the season, much like 163, which is the 38th prime number, fitting for accomplishing the feat in Minnesota and in US Bank Stadium. Consider Super Bowl 52 was known as Super Bowl LII, having reverse ordinal gematria of 163, and better yet, the Eagles defeated Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., a name summing to 163 in reverse reduction. When they did so, it came exactly 113 weeks after the Eagles, summing to 113 in reverse ordinal, had last played the Patriots, which was on December 6th, 2015, a date that can be expressed as 6/12, like how the Eagles won Super Bowl 52 in Minneapolis, the home of the 612 area code. 6/12. In the December 6, 2015 matchup, the Eagles won with 35 points as well, like how they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl on the 35th day of the year. And regarding the distance of 113 weeks, the number 113 is the 30th prime, where LII, the Roman numerals for Super Bowl, breaks down to 30 in ordinal gematria. For another important point is that by the Eagles defeating the Patriots in Super Bowl 52 as a franchise, New England became 5-5 all-time in Super Bowls, similar to 55. Recall what you learned in Chapter 5 about the relationship with 10 and 55 connecting to numerology and the Fibonacci sequence. In this case, New England became 5-5 in Minneapolis, a city summing to 55 in reduction gematria. Please also recall what you learned in the chapter on murder by numbers and how many people died in connection to this Super Bowl, in connection to the number 55 as well as 52. And speaking of 52, please also notice that the Royal Rumble, summing to 52 in reduction, the WWE event was hosted in Philadelphia the weekend before Super Bowl 52 was won by the same city. Once again, the mocking couldn't have been any more thick. For one last riddle in regards to Super Bowl 52, consider that Tom Brady went down to a backup quarterback. Okay, let me start that over. For one last riddle in regards to Super Bowl 52, consider that Tom Brady went down to a backup quarterback, Nick Foles, who replaced the injured starter, allowing the Eagles to improve to 1-2 in the Super Bowl era, just as Tom Brady had once been a backup quarterback, replacing the injured starter and leading the Patriots to their first Super Bowl win and making the Patriots 1-2 in Super Bowls. You'll recall that when Tom Brady accomplished the feat of winning his first Super Bowl, he did so over Kurt Warner of the Rams, who had also been a backup QB, replacing an injured starter and leading his team to their first Super Bowl win. Even further, when Tom Brady defeated Kurt Warner in the 36th Super Bowl, the Rams became 1-2 all-time in Super Bowls. I should note the word backup has reverse reduction gematria of 36. Let us now backtrack to Super Bowl 50, where Tom Brady's greatest rival, Peyton Manning, would ride off into the sunset after winning it. That was the Race War Bowl, with the white Broncos defeating the black Carolina Panthers the weekend after the O.J. Simpson TV drama released, which began with a white Ford Bronco chase. That game was also played in the Bay Area, which was the home of the Black Panther Party, established by Huey P. Newton in 1966, the season of the first Super Bowl. As I pointed out then, Cam Newton shared the same surname as Huey, and better yet, if Cam Newton did face Peyton Manning in the Super Bowl, Cam would become the 58th starting quarterback in a Super Bowl, corresponding with the fact that Huey P. Newton sums to 58 in reduction gematria, and similar to how Oakland sums to 58 in ordinal, where the BPP was founded, Black Panther Party. Okay, of course, all of that did happen, including another prediction I made, which was number 58 of the Denver Broncos, Von Miller, winning the MVP. In light of the riddle, it was an easy call, especially knowing that Cam Newton was the first pick of the 2011 NFL Draft, and Von Miller was the second pick right before him. For those who followed my work then, and were the gambling type, they knew they had made a bundle of money early when Von Miller sacked Cam Newton, causing a fumble and a touchdown for the Broncos, which of course was all scripted. After all, picking the right MVP for a Super Bowl, especially when their defensive player pays well. After all, picking the right MVP for a Super Bowl, especially when they're a defensive player, pays well. Yeah, man, this is some BS. Another thing that pays well is calling the score, which I have done numerous times. In the case of Super Bowl 50, I said to look for the number 24 because in Super Bowl 24, the 49ers had spanked the Broncos and John Elway 55-10. Consider Super Bowl 50 was being hosted by the 49ers, and the Broncos as a franchise were 55 years old, and so was the Panthers. And so was John Elway, who was now in management with the team. So let me reread that. Consider Super Bowl 50 was being hosted by the 49ers, and the Broncos as a franchise were 55 years old, and so was John Elway, who was now in management with the team. Sure enough, the Broncos beat the Panthers 24-10 by a difference of 14, which is a good margin for a Super Bowl. That is because 14 has reduction gematria of 41 when written as a word, and reverse ordinal gematria of 112, just the same as Super Bowl. Wow, this is some crazy stuff. For another riddle in the game, Super Bowl 50 was considered the golden anniversary, and fittingly, it was hosted by the 49ers, named after the 1849 Gold Rush. Better yet, the game was on the 38th day of the year, February 7th, and the word gold has ordinal gematria of 38. Also fitting, the game was won by the team from the 38th state, Colorado, which is a name summing to 38 in reduction gematria. Even further, the team that lost was the Panthers, summing to 38 in reduction, who had lost in Super Bowl 38 to Peyton Manning's favorite buddy, Tom Brady. Following the riddle with gold, it is abbreviated on the periodic table as AU, which are letters 1 and 21, something like 121. Fittingly, Levi's Stadium, where the game was played, is on the 121st meridian. And better yet, the Denver Broncos would visit the White House June 6, 2016, a span of 121 days from winning the game. Consider the date of the visit. 6-6 was much like the year 66, the year of the first Super Bowl, and the fact that NFL has Jewish gematria of 66. Keep in mind that 66 is the 11th triangular number, and football is a game of 11 on 11 where the number 121 also has a square root of 11. And for one last point on gold, in Jewish gematria the word sums to 81, and as I mentioned earlier, the game began with an 18-yard pass from November 18th to number 81. Wow. Had you known the code then, you could have seen it was all in the bag for Denver from their first pass. That is crazy. That is crazy. I don't know. I know I need to read this one more time to put it in context, but it goes like this. And for one last point on gold, in Jewish gematria, the word sums to 81. And as I mentioned earlier, the game began with an 18-yard pass from number 18 to 81. Had you known the code then, you could have seen it was all in the bag for Denver from their first pass. All right. Also important about the 49ers hosting Super Bowl 50 was the fact that San Francisco sums to 50 in reduction and Super Bowl sums to 50 in the same method, but when S is counted for 10. At the same time, Super Bowl 50 was the 46th Super Bowl of the modern era, and Levi Stadium, which was the hosting venue, equates to 46 in reduction. Consider the 49ers were once 5-0 in Super Bowls, similar to 50, before they lost in Super Bowl 47, which was the Harbaugh Bowl, Harbaugh Bowl, the first Super Bowl to feature two coaches that were brothers and were, sure enough, John, summing to 47 in ordinal, won the game, making the 49ers 5-1 all time in the big game. Don't call it a conspiracy. Conspiracy equates to 51, absolutely. For one last example of the rigging of Super Bowls by the numbers, let us examine Super Bowl 29, where the 49ers became 5-0 all time in the big game. In that match, they won the game over the San Diego Chargers with a very fitting 49 points. In addition to them being the 49ers, Super Bowl sums to 49 in reverse reduction. NFL sums to 49 in reverse ordinal, and 29 when written out as a word sums to 49 in reverse reduction too. As we learned, football has reduction gematria of 29, so I suppose it only makes sense how the two numbers go hand in hand. At the same time, 29 has reduction gematria of 50, and the 49ers became 5-0 in Super Bowl 29. As a reminder, it isn't just the big games that are rigged. It is all of the games. You can prove this point by examining the finer details, which prove that the entire world of sports is an ongoing and continuous script. For example, after Tom Brady lost Super Bowl 52, his career record was 223 wins and 65 losses. Knowing that he lost to Philadelphia, consider the city name Philadelphia has reduction gematria of 65 and reverse ordinal gematria of 223, like his record of 223 wins. Thus, it was perfect for Brady to earn his 65th loss against such an opponent, while remaining on 223 wins as he did. When you know the code, you can make these types of observations all day, every day. Alrighty, and with that part, I will end the video there. That's the end of football for right now, because we're about to transition into basketball, and I will probably do a reading, maybe even do it later this evening, but probably more than likely tomorrow or sometime. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoy the reading. Hope this prompts you to get the books. I hope it will prompt you to share the information so that other people can find this information and hopefully spread it. But in the meantime, you guys have a good evening, and I will be back later. Thanks for listening. Bye.